Boom. What's up, y'all? Back again. Lead of the Pack Sports Talk. Hope y'all enjoyed my last video giving breakdowns, playoff predictions, and Super Bowl and all that stuff. So thanks for liking. Thanks for sharing. Hope you do the same with this one. Like, share, follow, whatever you want to do. Just help a guy out. Come on, guys. All right. So today I'm going to give you my 4 sneaky good assistant coach hires. So back over the offseason, back in the spring, when hires were being made, I kept my eye on a few assistants that were hired. These 4 assistants are Gary Kubiak, Pat Shurmur, John DeFilippo, and Jason Garrett. And yes, some of them have had not the best track record maybe as a head coach, but as an offensive coordinator or a quarterbacks coach, they were fantastic. So that's what I want to dive into here. I was going to write a full-length piece on this, but with me putting everything off to the last minute, I was like, shoot, I'll just do a video. I got a few other things I'm going to write, especially with the Titans game coming up and Eagles tomorrow. So yeah, hope you enjoy. We're going to dive in here. My 4 sneaky good assistant coach hires. All right, here we go. First, we got Gary Kubiak. Gary Kubiak has been around the league for quite some time. He's a very good offensive coach. He was with the Houston Texans for years as their head coach. Then, let me see, I got a bunch of stuff pulled up here. So he was an OC in Denver for years. And then when Houston, the Texans became a thing, he took over as their head coach. And, you know, it was the Texans. They were a fresh team, and it really wasn't a whole lot of stuff going on there. He had some success here and there. Offensively, you know, his teams would put up some numbers once he started getting talent and they started getting better players in and whatnot. But it was when he went to Denver as their head coach that he took over for, I think, John Fox it was, and then led Denver to the Super Bowl. And I think at that time, no, it was after. So yeah, he took over as the Denver head coach, led them to the Super Bowl. And then after that, he took a front office position, I think, with the Broncos maybe. But he's always been regarded as a really, really good offensive mind. So he's taken over in Minnesota for Kevin Stefanski, who just took the Cleveland Browns job. Now, Stefanski last year with the Vikings, they ran the ball a lot. They were a great run team and balanced offensively. Kubiak coming in, I think they will continue to do that. And if we're going to see Kirk Cousins maybe take a jump, I think with Kubiak calling the shots on offense, I think there's a good chance that we'll see that. So Kubiak to the Minnesota Vikings as the OC, I think is a very, very good hire. That's why I put Minnesota as my 2nd seed in the NFC. I think Kubiak's going to do really well there in Minnesota. Plus, they have talent on that team, and they have a really good defense. But yeah, Kubiak and the offense, good. Next, we got Pat Shurmur. Now, Pat Shurmur has been a complete dumpster fire as a head coach. Yeah, I don't think he's had any success anywhere as a head coach. Just looking at his record right now, let me see. As a as a head coach, he's 19-46. Not the greatest of records as a head coach, but as an offensive coordinator, the guy has been very decent. He's never been great. He's had 1 or 2, maybe 3 great offensive seasons as an offensive coordinator, like 2017 with the Minnesota Vikings when they were what were they? They were number 1 in offense. Let's see what else. Yeah, as the OC in Philadelphia too, he had a couple good years. I think it was the Nick Foles years, when Nick Foles threw like 27 touchdowns and 2 picks or something. I forgot what it was, but yeah, I think it was 2013 or 2014. But the Eagles ranked near the top in offense. So I mean, he's had a few really good seasons as an offensive coordinator. Always been decent. Always been a really good offensive mind. But yeah, he's always been known to have, you know, 1, 2, 3 years where he can stack things together and have a really good offense. So I think going to Denver's biggest problem has been no offense, terrible quarterback play, and an offense that just can't generate enough explosive plays and consistent drives, and they just can't reach the end zone enough to compete. Defense has always been good, but the defense gets worn down in the second half because the offense goes 3 and out time and time again. So with Vic Fangio as the head coach, great defensive coach, great everything on the defense side of the ball. I think allowing a guy like Pat Shurmur, or I think bringing in a guy like Pat Shurmur, head coaching experience, ton of offensive coordinator experience. I think letting him control the offensive side of the ball. He's got a young quarterback in Drew Lock. They've added a ton of talent with Jerry Jeudy, KJ Hamler, Cortland Sutton, depending on this injury that he left practice the other day, but he's a really good receiver. Noah Fant at tight end. Then they brought in at running back Melvin Gordon to go along with Philip Lindsay. I mean, that's a lot to work with, and I believe Pat Shurmur, as the OC for the Broncos, is going to have some success there. And then they're just going to be fun to watch. But yeah, Pat Shurmur, great addition to the Denver Broncos coaching staff. Next, we have John DeFilippo. Now, a lot of people will say this dude is a joke. And people are right to say that because offensive coordinator-wise, the dude is not good. He's like Pat Shurmur as a head coach. John DeFilippo calling plays, especially his stint in Minnesota a few years ago after he left the Eagles, is one of those moments where it's like, dude, what are you doing, man? But John DeFilippo, he joined the Bears coaching staff not as an OC, but as the quarterback's coach. Now, the quarterback play for the Bears last year was bad. But in 2018, we saw Mitch Trubisky make a solid jump with the addition of Matt Nagy as the head coach. So I don't think Mitch Trubisky is the long-term answer. They added Nick Foles this offseason. Nick Foles, definitely not the answer. Dude's never started a 16-game schedule in his career. Great run with the Eagles for that Super Bowl, but the guy is what he is, man. He is. But I think if there's any coach out there that can maybe elevate Trubisky, get him to some sort of consistency maybe this year, I think Filippo could do it. Also, DeFilippo knows that same sort of system that Nagy runs, because Nagy is a Andy Reid guy, and DeFilippo came from the worked with Reid before in the past, I believe. Actually, I take that back. He has not, but he has worked with Nick Foles, and he was the quarterback's coach when Nick Foles led the Eagles to the Super Bowl in 2017. But DeFilippo has a really good track record of working with quarterbacks. He worked with Mark Sanchez with the New York Jets in 2009. I believe 2009 was the year they made it to the AFC Championship game, maybe. But there was a window right there where Sanchez and the Jets did make some runs in the playoffs. Now, after the butt fumble, all that went out the window. But DeFilippo was not there with the butt fumble. And then he was with the Oakland Raiders with Derek Carr. And now Derek Carr's taking some steps back, but when Derek Carr was making that rise, DeFilippo was on the staff as the quarterback's coach. So I just think adding him as a quarterback's coach to go along with Matt Nagy, and Matt Nagy is a tremendous play caller. He's a really, really good offensive mind and play designer. So if there's anybody that could maybe give Mitch Trubisky a push in the right direction, I think DeFilippo could be that guy. Now, it's going to be a tough division, so we'll see how things play out. But I think DeFilippo being added to that staff could make a difference going forward. We'll see. And then finally, my last coach, Jason Garrett. Jason Garrett, we know, 8-8. He's the clapping coach or whatever, you know. He wears the headset. That's about it. He was the with the Dallas Cowboys. But Jason Garrett, surprisingly, so whenever he was hired, I went and looked at the stats, well, his offensive rankings and all that when he was an OC. And surprisingly, he's a really good offensive coordinator according to some of these numbers. Tony Romo had a couple of his best years when Jason Garrett was the OC, not the head coach. So the New York Giants are another team that they don't have a lot of talent offensively. They've gone through some changes. It's just been a major transition of what's to come. I think Saquon Barkley is a stud running back, one of the best players in the NFL. I love watching the guy. Daniel Jones had his moments last year where he really shined and showed what he could potentially be. Sorry, I had text messages coming through, sorry. But I think Jason Garrett, just along with Joe Judge, we don't really know what we're going to get from this guy. I think he was a special teams coach or something with the Patriots. He brings a lot of energy. He's a no-nonsense kind of guy from the interviews that I've seen. I'm excited to see how things play out with him. But I think Jason Garrett, though, he's got the head coaching experience, and he's been a really good offensive coordinator. He's been able to produce big play offenses when he was an offensive coordinator. So I think adding him to that step just to get some experience to go along with Joe Judge too, I think will be an added bonus. So yeah, those are my 4 sneaky good assistant coach hires. Again, Gary Kubiak, offensive coordinator for the Minnesota Vikings. Pat Shurmur, offensive coordinator for the Denver Broncos. John DeFilippo, quarterbacks coach, Chicago Bears. And Jason Garrett, offensive coordinator for the New York Giants. Stay tuned. Like I said, I plan on doing more of these videos. Give it a like, give it a share, follow my page, Leader of the Pack Sports. Hope you enjoy. It's going to be a great football season. And yeah, thanks for tuning in. Cheers, y'all.